Hello, Western Civilization 105 class. Welcome to week 7. And yes, in 7 weeks, we are done. We're finishing up here with the final. And we covered a tremendous amount of information in a short amount of time. And so I really, again, want to commend all of you for keeping up with the work. Very difficult. And for those of you that had a hard time keeping up and didn't get the grade that you wanted, do not beat yourself up. These things happen. Especially when we're talking about so much information being covered in a short amount of time, and life happens. You had a lot of things going on. But in any case, it was great to go on this journey with you. Every time I teach this class, over time, this is one of my classes that somewhat evolves, because the way that I end the semester changes with the way current events develop, right? So we started with the middle section of Western Civ, and then we are come up to where we're at now. And so, as I mentioned in one of my other announcements, I've changed. So this is actually the first class that I've taught where I put some of these these videos for the last portion that you went over. And even though I like to change up information, unfortunately, a lot of times it's not always for the better, and things develop in the developments that are happening now. We are all very well aware is complicated, to say the least, and depending on where you're at, very deadly. And I just want to say a few things on this. First of all, I enjoy all civilizations, and I enjoy Western civilization. I think that we should be able to also look at different cultures in the world and look at them through a lens beyond just conflicts and the negative things that happen. And realize that every culture has something it can be ashamed of and things that it can take pride in. And I very much love my ancestry and culture, and I also love the diversity of others. My daughter has, of course, my ancestry, but she also has her mother's, which is Filipino and Haitian. And who knows what else is in those mixes there on her side. So we have this very beautiful, amazing world that we can learn a lot from. And at the same time, the differences that take place and some of the wrong things that have happened weigh heavily upon our present reality right now. And so in the United States, we see a lot of the culture wars taking place. Unfortunately, we are seeing not just a rise in conflict globally with the United States in the situation with Russia and China potentially, but we are seeing very dangerous developments taking place in our own country in terms of the questioning of the stability and the future of even the United States remaining as a country. I mean, these conversations are totally actually happening right now, and you all see them. And so I don't want to end this on a very negative, grim thought, but I think that it's important for us to understand why understanding history very clearly and soberly is so important, and making sure that sometimes as civil conflicts emerge, especially if we weren't really that much participating in politics, let's say before, we can be thrown off guard and find ourselves getting involved in things that we could regret later. Never think that any society where you've seen people do regrettable things couldn't be us. I mean, so many times when I grew up as a kid, I always heard people say, well, how could Nazi Germany do this? Or how could we have had slaves? And how could people in Rwanda did that, and Cambodia with the Khmer Rouge, and all these different other things. And people say, well, how did people do what they did, or why did they do it? Well, I mean, all these populations that did those things were basically people like us that somehow got caught up and found a reason. We got manipulated. We got ourselves caught up in some sort of big movement, some sort of thing at the time that made us feel that was justifiable. And the one thing I've learned about history is there's a lot of people who, after big world wars or civil wars or different kind of conflicts, they have to deal with a lot of actions that they did, and they have to face themselves and God, as the saying goes, right? Okay, they look in the mirror and see themselves. And like I said, it sounds like I'm being very ominous about what's going on. Well, I mean, look, what I'm saying is this. Hopefully the tensions taking place now will quickly subside within the world, within Western civilization and our own country, and everything can be back to normal, and then that's great. But what I'm just trying to say is it's probably a good time to start thinking about who you really are and what you really value and what history really means and what it teaches us, what it informs us about, right? And so I hope that this class, regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum, really made you realize the importance of what I just said, and also helps you understand that even though information is still debatable, even though that history is debatable, we can go to places that still gets enough concrete information or evidence to make an informed decision, even if we may not 100% be for sure about the source of our information, or how to really look at particular things. There's still enough out there that we can make educated, informed decisions and have some sort of grounding in reality. And while we can still do that, let's do that, okay? Again, I do hope, though, in the middle of all this seriousness, that it's just an opportunity for you to feel like you were able to grow and evolve and to be a better person, to be a more informed person. I hope that I was able to do that for you. In the past, I had I've had some critiques about the way I handled certain information. Like I mentioned, I try to take it to heart in a way that I definitely want to provide solid evidence with nuance and make you feel that, and to value your college education and see that it is valuable, okay? And so having said that, I wish you all the very best. Some of you, we may be in contact in the future. If I don't have contact with any of you again, I still hope you have great futures, and I'll just end it here. So be well, everyone. Take care. Oh, one last thing. Very important. The final, sorry. On the final, it's only 25 points. It's on Wednesday. I do not tell students not to do finals, and I do not try to figure out your grade for you. But if you think that you can afford not to take the final, which you will determine by yourself, you will not ask me this question. You simply write in the assignment part and say, Mr. Pollock, I do not want to take the final, and I'll give you the 0, and you'll ideally have the grade you still want, maybe an A or a B or whatever, and everything's fine. So I hope that clarifies everything. Feel free to ask me any questions about the final if need be, but again, don't forget, it's Wednesday that's due. Okay? All right, take care, everyone.